the mic. There we go. Can you hear me now, Mark? So here we are. This is the analysis, which was supposed to have been last Saturday. Um, Normally, these analyses are the last Saturday of the month, which would have been the 28th of March for the month of March. So, normalement, justement, cette analyse aurait dû être le samedi passé. C'est toujours le dernier samedi du mois. Malgré que, check now, Marcel. Marcel, regarde maintenant si vous devrez entendre le son. It's coming up. There we go. Perfect. We're all good. Bienvenue, Marcel. Welcome, Marcel. I think you're new to the group, aren't you? I'm gonna have to check the user list. Marcel J. Bienvenue au groupe. We have, as a matter of fact, just to let you all know, on the YouTube channel, we've reached 129 subscribers, and we're now 99 members for the group. I'm trying to slowly get back on track myself with the group. You'll notice that I've also posted an image of my own today for this challenge, which was the challenge for the month of March was to be able to use space, the element of space in our photograph to exactly to be able to help our image a little bit more and a little different way of representing our story in our images. Justement, le défi du mois de mars, c'était d'utiliser l'élément de l'espace, c'est-à-dire l'espace négatif versus l'espace positif. On le sait très bien aussi, n'oubliez pas que quand on parle de l'espace, quand on parle de l'espace positif, c'est toujours notre sujet principal, tandis que... oh, and Marcel is from Germany. I'm sorry, I just saw that pop up right there on the chat. Welcome, Marcel. Wow, I didn't think I reached that far. This is rather... hey, listen, welcome to the group. Hi, Mark. Salut, Marc. So, justement... when we're talking about space, we normally talking about the positive space being the principal subject, the main subject of the image, while the negative space is the space that surrounds our subject. So we're gonna go straight into. I've got 5 images in the album that we're gonna look at. Rather very interesting images, also. I'll be honest. So if we look at the sorry. I'm a little tongue-tied for some reason, but if we look in the album as is right now, and you guys let me know in the comments. I've fiddled around with some of the quality of my screen and what the screen capture is giving us. Let me know what you guys think with the quality of each of the images. How you're seeing it on your screens, because all I see here is a thumbnail right now when I'm looking at the stream. So here we've got Marc Lavoisière, who has presented this beautiful portrait. And when we talk about here the negative space, we're talking about the ferry and all of that beautiful empty space behind the ferry. And notice how he's used the dark versus the light. Dans cette photo-là, Marc a utilisé l'espace positif du sujet de la fille versus le fond qui est totalement noir, même avec la boucane qui introduit une certaine dimension aussi à la photo. Marc, c'est un très bel portrait. Je ne sais pas si ça a été pris justement au salon, le salon de la photo quand on était à Gosselin. Mais I love that, and I love the fact that it's in black and white also adds to the composition and to the story of this image. You really see the light, how it's lighting up the subject, and I mean the eyes. Just look at how well the eyes have come out let's just take a look here. If we bring it up a little bit more and look at the eyes, the focus is perfectly set. Regardez comment est-ce que la mise au point est vraiment sur les yeux, nulle part autre. Fait que Marc, une fantastique photo. Félicitations. Fantastic image, Mark. I love the... and here, you shot it. See, and look here. You'll notice that using the 7200 millimeter, he was shooting it at f8. And in this case here, f8 brings the hands. So you have the hand that's slightly in front of the subject all the way to the hand that's just a little bit behind the subject. Because if you look at her, she's a little bit leaned towards us, towards the photographer. And again, the focus is again straight on the eyes. Everything of her in itself is sharp. Beautiful, beautiful use of aperture over here. 200 ISO and a focal length at 78 millimeters on a full frame camera. Now those are the focal lengths I'm talking about when I'm talking about portrait. Portrait is usually between the focal lengths of 70 to 135. That's the sweet spot when it comes to portrait. Very rarely do we want to use anything under 70 millimeters, especially on a full frame camera, because otherwise you just distort the face. The face becomes more volumineux. C'est-à-dire que, regardez ici que Marc a utilisé un F8. Les proportions de notre sujet, qui est évidemment humaine, sont bien représentées ici. Typiquement, les focales qu'on veut utiliser, surtout en portrait, en plein capteur, c'est toujours entre 70 et 135. Je suis un vieux dinosaure. J'ai été formé de cette façon-là quand on fait de le portrait. Normalement, je n'utiliserai jamais un focal plus basse que 70 mm, en moins que c'est pour une photo de groupe. Mais je t'avoue qu'en photo de groupe, je vais être beaucoup plus loin que si je prenais une photo d'une personne simple. What I was saying there is that normally I'll never fall, when I'm shooting portrait as a portraitist, I will always shoot between 70 and 135, sometimes a little bit higher. I don't mind shooting a 200 millimeter or 250. That doesn't bother me as much as shooting under 70 millimeters. Because when you shoot under 70 millimeters, we have a tendency of being too close to our subject. And in that exact case, a lot of the times what happens, we're adding more volume to our subject. Just to give you a perfect example, I was making the comment yesterday with my wife and kids while we're watching TV. There's this commercial of a pharmacist who's talking about vaccines and COVID, and he's wearing glasses, and it really ticked me off that the fact that the director of photography or the videographer himself chose such a wide angle focal length that really it didn't give credence to the subject and what he was talking about, because he looked so much like a bobblehead. I don't know if you know what a bobblehead is. It's those little statues with the head that goes like this all the time. He's always vibrating like this here, but his head is huge. And the poor guy, you got to understand that you're representing these subjects. You don't want to emphasize asymmetrical shapes and forms of a person's body. You don't want the head to be larger than the shoulders. When you shoot that close, when you shoot with small focal lengths, that's exactly what you're doing, and it's exactly what I try to tell people not to do. Just because you see it on the internet, it's been done on the internet, and it's a trend, doesn't mean that it's a functional and that it's a good way to represent your subjects. Okay, I'll get off that tangent. I don't want to go too far into that tangent. Don't forget, my way is not the way, it is a way. Ma façon n'est pas surtout la façon de faire, mais c'est une façon qui est évoluée quand même sur une quarantaine d'années de photographie, avec différents mentors et différents formateurs que j'ai suivis dans ce temps-là. Puis à un certain point aussi, you got to be a little bit, common sense. I don't want somebody's head to be overly large. If the person does have that type of a head where the head is a little bit larger, well, normally what we'll do is we'll try everything we can do to bring it just a little bit smaller. Could you move the mouse a bit left? There's a straight line. Nice pick, Mark. I love it. Sorry, are we talking about... Perfect. So let's go on to the next shot. Fantastic. Oh, the line. Okay, I see what you mean. The line over here. Okay, I get it. Sorry. So let's go on. On va pop. Marc, encore une autre fois. Fantastic shot. I love this shot. Beautiful. Let's go on to the next image. And again, Marc, justement, Lavoisière. Here we have a beautiful, and I cannot remember exactly what bird this was, but Mark is there. He'll be able to tell us in the comments. But I love the use of positive and negative space. This is a perfect example of how to use positive and negative space. Just look at how well that totally blown out background contrasts this bird here. It's beautiful. Really, Mark, you couldn't have. I mean, seriously, I love it. I love it. You know, even the tones in the bird's shadow, like the side that's shadowed versus the side that's lit. What I'm talking about is here versus this here. The contrasts are fantastic. The detail is beautiful. Mark was using a D810 f6.3 at 1/2000th of a second, 1600 ISO with a 100/600 Tamron lens at 600 millimeters. Fantastic shot. Mark said it's an Arctic stern. That's what it was. It's a beautiful, beautiful shot. And if you look again, birding is portrait. Animals are portrait. You know, you have to try to get, if you can't see the eyes, at least get the head. Get the head that it's sharp. Get the beak to be sharp. Okay, this is a perfect example. The contrasts are great. Obviously, because this is a screen and because this was uploaded through Facebook, obviously, you know, there's a little bit of quality deterioration here. But other than that, the image itself, the composition is, you really outdid yourself on this one. Why can't I? There we go. That's why. There we go. But Mark, fantastic shot. I love it. And Mark is a wildlife photographer. He shoots a lot of, as you can see here. And this is another shot from, oh no, this is Mark Alari. Here we go. Mark, okay. We got Walking Under the Midnight Sun. Marche sous le soleil du minuit at 1/1600th of a second at f3.2. And here Mark used the enhanced, not the enhanced, sorry, but the simulated ISO, in the sense that this one is low 50, where, and I know the camera that he has, the native ISO for his camera is 100. When you're using the lower the high ISOs, basically what you're doing is you're using the simulated ISOs. They're not, the sensor itself can't get that kind of a sharpness that you would get or at a 50 ISO, but it can give you the impression of a finer image. And here, Mark, fantastic shot. I would, because of the color, maybe, I don't know if it's my screen, but you'd have to check your images. It does look slightly underexposed, okay? Other than that, what I would have done here was probably overexpose it by +1/3, +2/3, just to be able to bring out the snow, bring the whiter part of the snow out a little bit more. Voici, Marc a utilisé justement l'espace négatif de la neige, comparé à l'espace positif qui est les deux ours ici dans la caverne. La seule chose que j'expliquais, c'est que, à part de l'effet que, tu sais, premièrement, je regarde l'exposition un peu, puis je vois un peu pourquoi il fallait qu'il aille chercher un L50 au lieu du 100 ISO. La raison, probablement, c'était à cause du vitesse, mais quand même, dans ce cas ici, j'aurais mis, parce que, comme qu'on voit ici, quand même, à 3.2, Marc était assez loin, que probablement, la profondeur de champ 3.2, il est encore énorme, mais j'aurais été chercher plutôt un F4 ou un 5.6 ou même un F8. Puis là, j'aurais pu aller chercher quand même un 100 ISO. Puis tu n'avais pas besoin quand même d'avoir une vitesse de 1 1600e, justement, parce qu'ils ne bougent pas, ils ne sont pas en train de courir. Mais en fonction de la composition, regardons que l'espace positif, l'espace négatif, la seule chose que je trouve qui aurait beaucoup amélioré entre l'espace négatif et positif, c'est que pour faire sortir encore plus l'espace positif, ça aurait pu plus de lumière. Non, c'est là où je l'aurais. Puis normalement, quand on a un fond où on pourrait dire plutôt un photo high-key, high-key, c'est où ce que 60% et plus de la photo est basée sur le blanc. L'appareil photo va toujours essayer de sous-exposer. So, c'est le job du photographe de lui dire non, c'est un blanc que je veux, puis c'est un blanc que je veux garder. Fait que dans ce temps-là, je vais surexposer, puis je vais plutôt exposer dans le plus. Now, if the image here was overexposed, we would have seen much more of a difference between the bear here and the background behind. We wouldn't have seen as much of a kind of, not a collage, but a melding of the two tones of white. Okay. And typically, the snow should be a little bit brighter in this sense. Otherwise, Mark, fantastic shot. I love the way you compose the shot. I love the way that you use the negative space versus the positive space. I mean, you can't miss it. The negative space here is the cavern and the snow itself. Beautiful shot. Wonderful shot. Congratulations. Here we have Mark with a... here we're shooting geese in the sky. So when we talk about negative and positive space... negative and positive space, we're talking about really the geese versus the blue sky behind. Mark called this one l'envol or flight. He was shooting it at 1/2500th of a second, 1/2500th of a second. At f2.8 and ISO 100. With a 7200 at 200 millimeters. Again, Mark, you could have saved a little bit more on the speed and brought your aperture up. So probably would have been able to, rather than using the 2.8, you could have used a 3.5 or an f4, which would have given you just a little bit more depth of field in the wings. Just a little bit more depth of field here on this wing. Don't forget, even though you're aiming for, actually, in this particular case, no, they're pretty much in line. So even though your focus point is on, either on this bird, which is about the same as the head here, you still want to be able to have a certain amount of depth of field to be able to include the whole bird. Honestly, though, as is for the challenge, you've spot on in the challenge. You can't, and I mean, listen, at 2,500 of a second, you're freezing the birds anyways. The birds are completely frozen. What I'm just saying is that you could have maybe gotten a little bit more depth of field. There would have been a little bit less chromatic aberration if you would have just closed down the lens again. And usually when I use my 7200 2.8, I usually shoot at 3.5 just to be able to, f3.5 to f4, just to be able to have the aperture closed down on the light, so that it's just a sharper light, it's a sharper image in general. But other than that, as far as the this is a fantastic shot. The balance with the sky and the geese, you couldn't have done better here. Fantastic. Great job, Mark. On to our next image. Oh, and here we have my image. And you'll notice here, this one here was, we were at Parc de la Frayère over here in Boucherville. And I was with two people, and were trying out long focal length lenses. in which we were also doing birding photography that day, but still being that the St. Lawrence River was still frozen on the inside of the seaway, on this side of the seaway, I should say, there were still people actually ice fishing. The ice was still thick enough to be able to do ice fishing. I don't know if how it is today, being that it's been rather warm for the last week or so. But there was this branch, broken off branch from a tree that was just sitting there nowhere in the in the middle of the frozen part of the river, and it just dawned on me that it's perfect for last month's challenge. So in this particular case, what I'm doing is using the snow, so the ground, the frozen snow, the frozen surface of the river, as my negative space, and the positive space being the branch. And you'll notice too that the branch kind of falls in the same alignment with the shadows, which were being cast from the coast where we were standing, and the sun was obviously on that side. So this is just a little bit to show what we're talking about, negative and positive space. Well, my positive space is here, and the negative space is everything all around it. We could even include in the positive space, being that the shadows are coming from the trees, it kind of ties into the whole branch that's fallen into the river on the surface of the snow. Here I was using a 100 400 4.5 5.6 from Sony on my A7 III, and you'll notice I was at f11 and 400 ISO because we'd just come out of the forest, and well, the ISO was for the forest, and well, the f11 was because I really wanted to be able to get a depth of field that would include, because don't forget, at 300, so practically at the maximum of the focal length of the lens, you tend to have very little depth of field. When you're talking in the 5.6, 6.3, you're usually getting the equivalent of about a 2.8. So I wanted to try to extend my depth of field out as far as I could. That's where I ended up getting the f11. And you can very well see that, at 400 ISO f11, I'm still shooting at 1/640th of a second, and that is not a subject that's moving. So 1/640th of a second is way more than enough to freeze anything, even if there was a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of a wind that was blowing some snow around. The 1/640th of a second still froze the branch and whatever might have been rolling around in the snow. Comme j'expliquais ici, c'est que vu que nous étions en train de photographier des oiseaux, puis j'avais la 100-400 sur mon appareil photo, qui est un Sony A7 III, justement, j'avais parce que j'étais pratiquement à la limite du focal de l'objectif, je le savais très bien que si j'aurais utilisé une plus grande ouverture, la profondeur de champ aurait été minuscule. Allô Annick, bienvenue à l'épisode. So, dans ce temps-là, qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? C'est que j'ai fermé assez entre l'F8 et F11. Ici, j'ai choisi l'F11. Et puis, ça m'a quand même donné une vitesse assez élevée pour figer. Puis, justement, c'est une branche. Une branche morte, c'est une branche morte. Il ne bouge pas. Mais il y avait quand même un petit vent sur le fleuve. Et puis, je voulais être sûr que quand même, j'avais assez de vitesse en cas que il y aurait des granules de neige, ou que même si lui était mal balancé, qu'il y aurait un certain mouvement. Vous verrez aussi que je suis toujours en fonction du vitesse. Normalement, j'essaie d'être le plus près de 2 fois mon focal. And the reason, if you look here, of the 1/640th of a second, I tried to, let's just say I tried to kind of not jimmy it, but I tried to, fudge it a little bit. My regular, my regular rule of thumb when it comes to the lowest shutter speed that I'll try to use when using long lenses is I try to invoke the rule of 2 times my focal length. That's the speed. So in this particular case, if I was shooting, if I was shooting at 400 ISO, 400 millimeters, I'd try always not to fall under 1/800th of a second. In this particular case, I mean, the wind wasn't evident enough. The branch wasn't moving in reality, it really wasn't moving. So 1/640th of a second. That's why I use that as a reference there. Mark asks, AJ, the A7 IV is coming? Yeah, well, you know, it's supposedly coming. I don't know if it's coming. It's probably going to be coming out later this year, the A7 IV. But as is right now, I mean, the A7 III is a fantastic camera, 24 megapixels. I mean, it's a beautiful machine in itself. I'm looking forward to hopefully at one point trying out the 200-600. That's something that I really want to try out. That lens a little bit more so than the 100-400. The 100-400 tends to be a lens that's you tend to lose the center of gravity because it's an extending lens. Rather, the 200-600 is it's physically it's one length. So I'm looking forward to getting a shot to try that one out as a new lens. These are the images that we had presented today over this past month. Now, what I've done for this next month, and I need a little bit of... So, technically, I also need you guys to give me some ideas. J'ai besoin que vous me donnez des idées, soit pour des défis, soit pour des idées de sujets que vous voulez m'entendre parler. What I'd like you guys to do, because I'm kind of slowly coming up to, I guess you could say, writer's block when it comes to these themes. But if you have any ideas, any themes that you would like to practice in context of our challenges, please email them to me. You can also text me directly. I'll get you that text number. It's 438 701 2480. I haven't used it in the last couple of weeks. I know I should be using it more often. But if you text me at 438-701-2480, I will respond. It's not a phone number you can call. Ce n'est pas un numéro de téléphone que vous pouvez appeler. C'est que seulement pour les textes. Si vous voulez faire part de mon communauté de textes, c'est la 438-701-2480. Si vous avez des idées pour des nouveaux défis, s'il vous plaît, envoyez-moi-le. Je vais t'avouer que ce mois d'avril ici, je vais rouvrir, je vais ramener, j'avais dit que j'ai dit au tout début que c'était un thème qui reviendrait plusieurs fois dans l'année. So what I'm doing is I'm going to launch for this month of April, I'm launching a freestyle. And the freestyle is basically whatever floats your boat. Take a picture of whatever floats your boat. I've already created the album. The album's already ready. L'album est déjà... I've got it. Marcel's got a pic to add. Okay, perfect. We're going to go back into the album and see what Marcel sent us. Just give me a sec. We'll check and see if Marcel has sent us something. Not yet. Okay, no problem. We'll go back. We'll come back to the album in a second. I'm going to show you the new album. So when you want to submit... Oh, look at that telescope. Oh, look at the observatory. Which one is that? The Pac-Man of the Moon. The VLT Auxiliary Telescope. Sorry, guys. Just kind of... Mark will turn around and say, oh, look, squirrel. I'm sure he's laughing right now. Give me a sec. So we're going to go check out again. So, in media. So, dans la partie média dans les albums, vous verrez justement le nouvel défi qui est justement numéro 17. C'est freestyle numéro 2. If you want, you can have ideas here in freestyle number 1. Facebook chat. Oh, okay. You put it in the Facebook chat. Okay, Marcel, I'll go get it. Hold on a sec. William... Let me read. Okay, so just so you know, ça c'est le nouveau pour le nouveau challenge de ce mois-ci. Ça va être dans cet album-là. Okay, and you guys, you have until April 24th. That's going to be the next the next analysis. It's going to be at 7 p.m. My apologies, but I'm scheduled to work that day, so it's going to be that evening when I get back. So yeah, anything your heart desires, whatever genre of photography you want to, whether it be macro, whether it be animals. The other reason also that I'm launching is because I've also noticed in the past couple of months, there's been a lot of stuff that's been submitted straight into the group itself. So it'll give us a chance to look at, hold on. It'll give us a chance to really look at all of these other images over here. You know, as far as freestyle goes, although I'm looking at quite a few here. There are quite a few in here, and I see they come from Fabrizio, where we could talk about negative space and positive space too. And I mean, these are out. I mean, you know, just the idea is to be able to identify these elements of art and be able to represent them in our images. Tu sais, je veux dire, puis l'idée aussi le mois d'avril de lancer le défi du style libre, c'est aussi vraiment pour aller chercher toutes les images qui ont été envoyées juste dans le groupe en tant que tel, aucun album en tant que tel, mais pour prendre un peu de temps pour apprécier toutes les photos qui ont été envoyées par hasard par tout le monde, justement. Now, I just want to check. Marcel sent you a pic before a sec. Facebook chat. Your chat. Hold on. In my chat. Let me check it another way here. Give me a second. Where's my chat? I just want to see the image. Sorry, Mark, I don't see it. Je le vois pas. Je cherche justement la photo que Marc a envoyée. Ah, sorry, que Marcel a envoyée. Marcel. Are you part of the... That's a question. Are you part of the members of the group? I just want to check. Let's see here. Marcel. Upper right. Incoming messages. Oh, here we go. Let me first do that for you there, Marcel. Sorry about that. I just noticed it now. We are now at 100 members. Félicitations tout le monde. Nous sommes rendus à 100 membres. Thank you, Marcel Jaeger. It's much appreciated. Check and see now if you should now be... Confirm. There we go. Now we're talking. Got it. Let's have a look. Beautiful. I love this shot. So in this particular shot here, Marcel has used the foreground and the background. So the foreground being the ground and the sky versus the subject who you see there on the in the middle there of the not at the horizon, but I'm saying in the distance. It's a beautiful, beautiful shot. I love it. I love the detail, the depth of field, beautiful use of depth of field. Marcel, if you could just give us a little bit of detail in the chat, I'll go back to the chat in a moment. What did you shoot it with, and what was your your exposure on it? And, you know, and I'm not asking this for any other reason, but as far as a teaching tool, you know, and I tell this to a lot of people, you know, we've tend to lost sight of photography as an art, and we've used photography more in the in its scientific context, where we're always asking, we look at an image and the first questions that come out of our mouths are, oh wow, what focal length? Oh wow, what shutter speed? What aperture? What ISO? That's not the point. The point is, does my image tell a legitimate story? Do I have enough detail to tell my story? Do I have enough detail to make my subject evident and really bring out the story around that subject? But in this particular case with this particular live stream, I want people to, because I want people to know a little bit of how we shoot. So that's why, and Marcel for future, and this is for everybody else also for future reasons. If you'll notice when I put out my, sorry, he had it already. So 1/250th of a second at F, he wasn't sure about the F, probably about an F16 or F11 if you ask me, is using a 2470 on the RP. And at 1/250th of a second, I could probably say that your not your aperture, but your ISO was somewhere between 100 and 200 ISO to be able to shoot at 1/250th of a second. But that's just me. But like I said, it's a fantastic image. I love the image. I wonder if I can get this to. It would be nice if I could. You know what I'll do is I'll download it and I'll upload it for Marcel with his name and his exposure on it. I would just want to show you what I was talking about in the when you upload images to the group, quand vous soumettez vos images au groupe. Qu'est-ce que je parlais tantôt à propos de les infos, puis c'est seulement pour la raison de la formation en tant que telle. C'est vraiment d'inclure l'exposition, quel objectif puis quelle focale que vous avez utilisé. Juste pour donner plus d'idées en temps réel, comment que vous avez réussi cette photo-là. Pour que les autres peuvent avoir une idée aussi de qu'est-ce qu'on cherche en fonction de l'ouverture, du vitesse et de l'ISO. Et aussi la focale, comment est-ce qu'on pense dans ces circonstances-là. Surtout que après un certain temps, ça devient des automatismes. Don't forget that after a while, we don't even see this technical aspect of the part of photography because we're so involved in looking for the photo that this is already taken care of. You know what I mean? I mean, I picked my shutter speed, my aperture, and my ISO way before I even saw what I was going to shoot. I basically came out of the woods with, actually Anik was there with me, with Anik and another one of our members of the group, and I'd already fixed my aperture, my ISO. And then I just started looking for what could I use over here that would make for a nice image. And then when I saw the branch, right away it dawned on me, wait a minute, this falls into the perfect theme for this month. So, you know, it's fantastic as far as allowing us to know, because obviously all of you novices, tous les novices veulent savoir comment est-ce que les photographes réagissent avec leur lumière, avec leurs circonstances quand ils prennent la photo. Again, Mr. Yeager, Marcel, welcome to the group, welcome to the gang. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for making us hit the 100 mark in the group. That's fantastic. The more the merrier. And like I was saying, if you guys want to participate in next month's le mois prochain, le défi du mois prochain, ça va être justement, il faudrait que je fasse une raccourci juste pour y aller à l'album du groupe. But so we'll have, c'est ça, freestyle, style libre pour le mois prochain. Que n'importe quoi que vous voulez faire de l'astrophotographie, if you want to do macro photography, astrophotography. And I'm going to bring back my, in the very beginning, I was doing a few live episodes on certain aspects of photography. So again, if you'd like a certain subject that I speak on, que vous voulez que je vous parle d'un certain sujet ou un certain concept, S'il vous plaît, envoyez-le-moi soit par Messenger, soit par courriel. Tout le monde connaît mon courriel, c'est AJ, A commercial, Andrew-James. Actually, I'll give you that all now. Where is it here? Where did I put it? Here we go. Why is it not coming up? Yeah, there you go. It took a while. So you can reach me here. You can also reach me par texte si vous voulez. Vous pouvez m'envoyer un texte au numéro de téléphone du 438-701-2480. You can text me at 438-701-2480. If you're not already a member, please join the text group. I think we're about 15 people on it right now, and right now I'm good for about 100 people. So if you'd like to be notified on a regular basis when new episodes come out, when podcasts come out, I'm working on my next 3 podcast episodes. Well, I want to finish my first one at least, my first real podcast episode. And I've got a couple of interviews in there too that I'm going to be releasing very soon. And what else was I going to say? So thank you all for participating. I don't know if you have any questions as right now, but please, by all means, text me, message me, or email me, and we'll try to be I want to try to also be more active. Maybe try to bring something out every other week, every couple of weeks. Just little episodes of 5, 10, 15 minutes just to talk about different subjects. And but please, everybody, keep on shooting. Don't get discouraged. S'il vous plaît, surtout, faire la photographie, tirer le plus que vous pouvez. Ne soyez pas découragés. Okay, je veux pas que vous découragez. La photographie, c'est de la pratique. All I can tell you about photography is it takes practice. And the more you practice, the more you master. The more you master, the more it just becomes capturing life. Really, that's exactly, I can't tell you that's exactly what it is. Again, welcome, Marcel Jaeger. Thanks for being with us. Thank you everyone for participating. Marc, Annick, je vous souhaite tous une belle fin de semaine, surtout un joyeuse Pâques. Happy Easter to everybody. Buona Pasqua. My Greek friends, I'll wish you that next week. I believe it's next week, your Easter. But I just want everybody to enjoy yourselves, have fun, and we'll all see you guys soon.